Hello everybody and welcome to an installation video of Ubuntu 18.04.1 LTS or 18.04.1 LTS. I don't know, something like that. Why do I do this? Well, I want to check out Ubuntu. After all these years, I've never really looked at Ubuntu. I've looked at a couple of different distributions, but not really the original Ubuntu. I really liked Ubuntu back in the days. It was my first Linux I ever installed and used. That was Ubuntu 11, and I really liked it because it was kind of I would say imitating Mac OS. That's nothing bad. I really liked the interface. I really did. I know that the die-hard Linux guys from back in the days were always saying, "Oh, this Unity desktop, a piece of shit." Ugh. But I think they got over it, and now a friend of mine who has used Ubuntu actually switched over from Ubuntu to Linux Mint because he thinks it's so awful and terrible. And I can't really say anything, so I've never seen it. So let's do that. Now, right here is Windows XP. Yes, I know it's not going anywhere, but this will also be my Linux PC or well, not Linux PC, just my one of my Linux machines, maybe the primary Linux machine. Call it what you want. It's got plenty of space to dual boot. It's got a 500 gig and we got 430 gigs free. So we will kind of give it a 150 gig partition or so for Ubuntu. So yeah, let's reboot that and let's see how the new Ubuntu looks. This is in fact not even the latest Ubuntu, it's just the latest LTS, and that's the one I want. I don't feel like updating the system every, I don't know, couple of months because it's running out of support. Or I don't know, can you finally tell me how long the normal versions, the non-LTS versions are supported? I get so confused already. I've got this chart, but I always get so confused. I just know that it doesn't really have that long of a support, so I'm always going for the LTS, so I'm free of trouble. So let's boot from USB and see if it even boots. Now this isn't an all too slow system. Oh, that's a different one than I remember. That's a weird grub bootloader there. Huh. Okay. I've never seen that before. Well, it's loading something. Now what I want to say, I got interrupted here. This is a Pentium dual core. So it's a dual core, but it only has 2 gigabytes of RAM. And after all, this is a new operating system. So let's see how this goes with the 2 gigs of RAM. I know that Linux is pretty good on using RAM. It doesn't need all that much RAM when you compare it to Windows or Mac OS. But yeah, then again, I've only used the more lightweight version, so this is the full normal version, not really optimized for lightweight or anything, just the normal Ubuntu. So yeah, and here we go. That was actually a pretty fast boot. And there it is. Now, I will not test it out yet, I will just install it. But I see that right now it looks kind of the same as I remember it, at least. Not all that different. And the installation still looks the same. We'll go for... Should we go for English or German? Let's go for English. Just for you guys. But I will need to enter the German keyboard. German, Austria, even though there is no difference on a German and German Austria keyboard. And it even recognizes my LAN card, which is actually an improvement, guys. Why am I telling you this? What is that? Wait. I will come back to the Wi-Fi thing. I need to concentrate a bit. That is something new. What apps would you like to start with? Normal install or minimal installation? Hey, that's actually a nice improvement. Because I never remembered that you can actually select stuff like this. And that is pretty handy when you just want your minimal installations, only web browser and basic utilities, or you go for the Office software games. And this is the one I would choose if this would be my primary system, my main machine. But I will go for this just for the demo purposes, and I will also install that. So we have all the additional drivers available, and also we can play MP3s. Install Ubuntu alongside Microsoft Windows XP Professional. That's what I want to see, yes. Don't want to lose my XP. This looks just like the macOS Bootcamp Assistant Windows logo. Now we'll only give it 150. That's what I think at least is a good idea. This is after all my Windows XP gaming system, so it should have plenty of space to live with. And there we go, an Apple hard drive, yep. Install now. Yes, continue. Now that is actually just the same as I remember. Maybe a little redesigned with this bigger font up here, but other than that, I don't see a difference, and especially not on the user experience. It's just one-to-one as I remember it. Same here. No, we're not in New York, and we're not in Berlin either, but it has the same time zone. So did it now change? It didn't change. There you go. Well, Stockholm is fine too, or Prague is all the same. Well, come on. We'll just call it Optiplex. And yeah, there you go. I don't see all that much of a difference. Now, the good things I've noticed so far is the Wi-Fi thing I told you. This Wi-Fi card was never recognized by any Ubuntu I tried. Why do I know this? Because on my main PC I had this Wi-Fi card installed and no Linux would recognize it. I would always have to search for drivers for it. I didn't feel like doing that, of course, but this right here recognized it fine, so that's good, I guess. So here is our first boot, and these are now the real first impressions. Before it was only installation, now is first impressions time. And installation was pretty straightforward. Nothing hard, nothing unintuitive. What is PA? Okay, so that's not really the language I want. That's nor English nor German. This is that Hungarian or whatever? That's a weird quirk here. I don't know why that is. Just hope that it doesn't continue. Now this is the login screen. That's pretty old school, actually. I've actually expected something a little more modern. This is from the Ubuntu's 10 or so. I actually found the old one better, which had this artwork and stuff. But maybe that wasn't simplistic enough, so they went back to the old school. But it works. It displays the user, and that's what it's supposed to do. Straight to the point. There it is. I expected a bit better performance. I just hope that it wasn't. I just hope that it was only because of the first ever boot. What's new in Ubuntu? Ubuntu works differently from older versions. Yep, that's what people told me. They have this first startup welcome guide thing, which is fine for a lot of people. Life patch helps you keep your computer secure by applying some updates that would normally require restarting. It's a good idea, just that I don't want to do that right now. No, we don't send anything. You're ready to go. Open software now. Is that the new software center? Okay. Okay. Oh, whoa. Oh, I see. They brought the window controls back to the right side. They went first to the left, now back to the right. Okay. I was just always used to them on the left side on Ubuntu. Okay. So let's connect to the Wi-Fi. how do I do this? I click here to the sound controls apparently. Or, okay, no, here, Wi-Fi. Select network. Okay, let's... It's looking pretty slick. Right now I'm actually quite liking it from the very first impressions. Oh, is it not connected or... Well, it shows. So, let's see if we get a web page up here. So to verify that it's really connected. Now, I know that this is a slow hard drive. But nevertheless, I expected better performance. Ubuntu does that way better. So maybe this computer has aged more than I first thought. Maybe this resolution is correct, I think, yeah. So there is... Firefox is critically out of date, alright, okay, fine. It was an old image, so maybe that's the case here. Okay, that's the file manager. I always like the Ubuntu file manager. And I gotta say, this is very friendly here. I really like that. Nothing wrong here with this. Just that I maybe wanna, for example, look at my other hard drive partition. Where do I have to go? I have to go to other locations. Well, it's not completely to my liking. I would like to have that in here too, but since Ubuntu is for really everybody, they wanted to get this maybe as little confusing as possible for, you know, the end user. So they hide that in here because they think, yeah, the real Linux guys will know how to put that out, and that is indeed true. So that is the hard drive partition, and that should be Windows. Yep, that's Windows. So good, alright. The icon is still the same. Icon still look familiar. Just that this dock here is a little more flat. So let's click here, and I've got a fear that I'm not gonna like this. Yep. I, in fact, saw this already. Because my friend who used to use this and switched to Linux Mint made me so curious. So I lied a little bit to you. I already knew how this looks. I just never used it, so, you know, it's still, after all, first impressions. And I have to agree with him on this one. I would never like to have this on my daily system. I do not see the purpose on a computer for stuff like this. I see the purpose on a touchscreen device, but not on a computer. Now, why do they put this in the regular, normal Ubuntu? I can tell you, because there are more and more hybrid laptop tablets out there, like ones that you can take off and then it's a tablet and put back together, then it's a laptop. And there it does make sense since you have a touch screen, but I don't like these types of devices. I don't find them useful for my purposes. And so I think they should make two versions, like one version for touchscreen and one for non-touchscreen, because stuff like this, it's same on Mac OS, the Launchpad. I don't see a reason why I need my whole screen just for looking at my applications. But I reckon it's easy to use, so maybe that's why they put it in. I don't like that though. So let's see if you can drag this in here and have it in the dock. For example, a terminal. And yes, that is user friendly. I've had that happen way too often that on a lot of Linux distributions. You have this awesome dock down here on the side or whatever, but you cannot edit really easily. You have to go into settings and edit from there and stuff. But you can never just drag it in. I kind of had a second one in here. How is that? Remove from favorites. Let's remove that one. And it's gone. Maybe that was a bug. Who knows? Let's do in the system monitor. Oh, that was already in here. Now that is intuitive. I like that. That's cool. That's good. Amazon. I don't need Amazon in my favorites. So what do we have? Utilities. That's a subfolder. Looks kind of like iOS. Very like the old school iOS. Very unpleasant on such a device like a desktop computer, but nevertheless it's here. And we got disk usage, and another critic point of mine is you have all this much disk space. When you slap it into my face, you can at least write it all out, but I can't. So we'll have disk usage analyzer. That is helpful. I've never seen this program before, but I like it since it's showing you like a little scale, how much you got left and how much is used and stuff. And that is for, again, the end user, quite helpful. These guys who don't know, oh shit, I'm out of storage already? How is that? Well, us computer guys or pro users never really will happen to this because we already know how much we got left, but the end user doesn't know that, so that's quite helpful and also nice looking. That's what I like. Good, that's a nice program. Let's go back in this annoying little way of launching stuff. That's a new desktop. Alright. The desktop, how is it called? GNOME, I think. The latest GNOME. Not really a fan of it yet. Disks. That looks interesting too. Okay, that's also quite handy. Looks kind of like the old Mac OS disk utility, which I really liked. And it has a useful graph or a useful way of displaying what is on your disk, and I like that. That's quite nice to look at. Let's see what we can do here. Benchmark the disk. Drive settings. Alright, create disk image, restore disk image. Pretty easy, straight to the point. I like that. That's also pretty cool. Let's look up some more. Let's see how fast the search is. When I first thought, maybe I could get used to this if I can just tap Windows key and then type something. So let's type Firefox. And I hit enter. Yep, that's good. I like that. Let's do that again with a different program, LibreOffice. Yep, that's working. So, this is probably the way I would use it. Although, it's not to my liking that it always pops up full screen, because I'm not blind, I don't need to have everything thrown into my face. But yeah, thankfully they kept the starter, as they called it. Now it's favorites, apparently. Now, one thing I see is missing is the good system preferences, or the preferences. The settings, okay. It's called different on every operating system, I'm sorry. The settings, it's not in the starter, I call it starter, just believe me. And there again, I don't like that. This is a step backwards, I think. The old Ubuntu, from Ubuntu 11 on, had a really cool macOS inspired system prefs or settings, because it had all the icons. It looked basically like a macOS system prefs, which is very, very good and very straight to the point and user friendly. But this is like you take Android and you put it in your desktop PC. Yes, I can read, everything's clear, but it's not as nice looking, and it's surely not the way I like it. And I really have to say I like confusing Windows 10 settings more than this. Let's look what we can do. Icon size to the dock, change that to more or less. That is good. I would like to have it, for example, at this size when it comes to that monitor, maybe even smaller. Slower, yeah. It's kind of slow to use. We can have it in the bottom. I would never have it this way, but I know some people who use it this way. Or right or left is basically the same. And we got these awful notifications, and that's not a thing from Ubuntu alone. Every operating system has these annoying pop-up notifications from everything. So I would do one of those and turn it off and just be left alone, because this gets on my nerves. And they made that with this one slider pretty nice and easy. Although it looks just like iOS 5 and 6, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We got search. Okay, so the search is in fact modifiable, customizable. So right now I can search for, what can I search for? I can search for files, calendar, password and keys, terminal, software center. Let's turn that off. And now when I go into Libre, it doesn't show me the software center thing again, because why would you need to be shown this again when you already have it installed? So that's nice. Can you do some more maybe? Alright, you can only do this, but you know, that's not bad. I like that. Then we got the language, which has got here a little problem. Yeah, English United States, and then, oh, it's Czechko, it's Czechish, Czech. There you go, ha, Czech. I don't know why it chose the Czech settings, and it doesn't have Austria, of course, but it does have Germany. I bet. No, not Germany. What? Maybe Deutsch? No. Okay. Then let's go with Australia, mate. That's always great, mate. Input sources is German, of course. What is that? Universal access. Now I have to say, I say maybe a lot of negative things about these settings. I mean, they are easy to use, and I guess that's why they did that. But I still prefer the icon look, the OS 10 look. But it's not necessarily that I could never use this. Maybe my friend was a little harsh on this system. I think it's okay so far. Just the one thing that bugs me the most is maybe this. This is still, I mean, I don't know if I could ever get used to this. All of this fancy animation. What's with this animation? Is that really necessary? So, yeah, this is easy to use. Let's see, network, cable unplugged, yeah, of course, devices. Yeah, how do I, for example, set the monitor resolution? I go in here. Oh, come on. This could be done easier and better looking and just more intuitive. Because when I went to change my monitor settings on the old Ubuntu, I click on monitors and there it was. Now I go into devices, I go into resolution, and then I go click here or whatever. Night light. Okay, they got kind of a night vision mode, where you would where it makes it different. Easier to read, I guess, but I don't know how to use that really. Can I maybe have a preview? Not? Okay, then let's set it to maybe, okay. Ugh, this monitor is not the best way to test it on. But yeah, that's a nice touch. That's good. Okay. So for example, I want to have informations about, hey, it found my printer, that's good. I want to have informations about, for example, my system, like operating system. I go here, okay. Well, that's the same as it used to be. Check for updates. It was unable to download some stuff. Now, yes, I get it. The end user doesn't like to go in a terminal and install stuff. I totally get that. That's why they have this app store thing. I was never a big fan of app stores on desktop OSs, just because they were so bloated always. They would recommend you all just crap that you would never really need. So I'm not a big fan of this, although I can see why they put it in. Not everybody, you know, does it this well, show you. Not everybody will go into terminal and they will write sudo su. Although if you use any kind of Linux, you should at least know this command, what it does. And then they would install apt-get install handbrake, for example. Oh, it can't find handbrake. Maybe I need an update first. Alright, yeah, that works. Good. Now, yes, guys, I know you can already do it with aptitude update, but I'm just used to the apt-get update, which is the way I always did it for years. Now it should work. Yes, it does, in fact, work. But yeah, welcome surprise. My Wi-Fi card works. Woo! Good. Come on, you can open up. There you go. The system is pretty sluggish. We still got the old school system system profile, system monitor. That's fine, I guess. Maybe it helps when I install the NVIDIA driver, since this is using an NVIDIA graphics card. Right now it's using 1.3 gigs of RAM. Yep, I guess this desktop needs way more RAM than, for example, an XFCE desktop. Of course, it's way more fancier. It's probably got more features, and it's got these nice see-through effects and everything, which is, you know, which is fine. It's modern. It needs to be modern. LXDE and XFCE is for niche only, so this is fine. You know, I don't have to forget. You don't have to forget before you blame the OS for being shit or so. They have to please everyone, because this is the go-to Linux. When you say Linux, you think Ubuntu first. And when they first wanna like move people over from Windows, they need to make it as appealing, as user-friendly as possible. And that's why they do stuff like this. That's why they put in the modern look, so it looks cool. That's why they put in this search, which I don't like, but a lot of people will say, hey, there is Firefox right here, or this handbrake right here. I can just click and it's here. Oh my god, so easy. It sounds stupid, but I've witnessed enough people that would say that, believe me. So I totally understand why they did that. But for any like more experienced users, this is just not the way to go. I wouldn't like this. If you use this, give me some arguments why you like this, apart from the cool look. Why? In my opinion, it wastes a ton of monitor space, and I could even like use it without my glasses. It's so big, and that's the main thing. I have to scroll, even though this could easily fit on the whole screen. There's not so much installed. So yeah, I also don't like this in folder on the monitor. Like, once again, everything opens up full screen sorta. This was the thing with Windows 8. I think, you know, maybe the industry kind of went back from this Windows 8 trend, but they didn't here. And I don't know why the Ubuntu guys thought this was the go-to desktop environment. But then again, it's probably for the ease of use. So yeah, guys, this is Ubuntu 18.04 first impressions. There aren't really any more features. Let's get a calculator. It's just probably the stock GNOME calculator again. And I'm a little disappointed by the performance. Sure, this is an old PC and it's using a crappy hard drive and only 2 gigs of RAM, but back in the days, Ubuntu ran fast on these sort of systems, and with 2 gigs of RAM, you had plenty for opening 1 or 2 little programs. But right now I have nothing open and it's really sluggish. Right now it's installing the NVIDIA driver. I was hoping to kind of bump up performance a bit with the NVIDIA driver. And as you see, it's currently using 1.5 gigabytes of RAM. The CPUs aren't really that stressed. A thing I probably have to take back is the complaints about the performance because of the low RAM. I was always used to seeing Ubuntu run on low RAM configs. But then again, I thought we're in 2019 and 2 gigs of RAM isn't really all that much, and I don't think the majority of even the slowest and cheapest computers sell with 2 gigs of RAM anymore. So an OS that only uses 1.5 gigs is pretty good when you compare it to Windows or you compare it to Mac, which is even worse. So yeah, still though, you can achieve pretty good RAM usage results with low configs if you use a different distribution, of course. After the driver installation is right now, and I already saw the animation was a bit smoother, so this apparently helped a bit. But this hard drive is not really helping it. This thing would be way faster with an SSD, just way faster. But as you see, now we got the NVIDIA drivers, the X server settings, and this isn't such a bad GPU. We got a GT 730, which is, you know, not crazy good, but it's definitely sufficient. And now we should have 3D acceleration and everything. So we should go and play a YouTube video. Now, since we already have the GPU utilization here, we should also look at the CPU usage and memory usage while we play an HD video. Let's go to youtube.com. By the way, I've also updated it so it doesn't complain anymore about how it's so outdated. How is the CPU doing here? Oh, was it 100%? Okay. Maybe the CPU is also getting a bit old. Alright, let's watch a HD video. $1080. Alright. We're at 4% usage here and 51 now. Crappy playback also. RAM is 90%. Yeah, the CPUs are also stressed. So yeah, I'm really pushing it here. Poor system is not capable. So yeah, guys, this was just out of curiosity. This has nothing to do with the OS, just a little about the old system here. HD, well, still a bit choppy. Huh. HD works fine on a different OS, by the way, so this RAM is definitely an issue. Yeah, here we have it. So, to conclusion, what do I say about Ubuntu 18.04? I say it's fine. It's definitely consumer-oriented, nothing for pro users. It's intuitive, while the settings are changed for the worst. I really like the old settings better. They aren't as confusing. They don't have so many sub-menus like this one has. It's not bad, but it surely was better before. But the most annoying thing is this full screen starter thing. While the search is good, well, you just, you know, press the Windows key and you can search, and you also got this OS X style mission control thing where it displays all the, you know, the windows, which it has done before, so I didn't go into that. I always like that. That's pretty handy. But this full screen search, this gets on my nerves, and I can see why my buddy here changed to Linux Mint, since it isn't like this. It doesn't have so many unnecessary features that we will never use. But it's fine. The RAM usage is a bit high, but then again, it's in modern OS, so I'm testing this on an old system. And with the NVIDIA driver, it installed fine. I didn't have any driver issues also. So, yeah, I think it's good. It's not that I would like to use it as a primary system, but it's fine, you know. Install it if you like.